the Electoral Commission of Zambia, like you've put it, they didn't ban, but they advised political parties to look at other ways of doing campaigns. But the PF have banned, to them, they have banned the people that are standing not to be holding rallies. Do you see political parties following? If they are going to follow this, advice from the Electoral Commission of Zambia, what will be the role of the police? Are they just going to move in and start stopping people? Those that will see, because the Electoral Commission of Zambia advised them that if you are to hold rallies, make sure that you follow the COVID-19 protocols.
You can't follow the COVID-19 protocols at a rally. You can't hold a rally in the new normal. It's extremely impossible. You can't control the behavior of the people that come to the rally. They behave in whichever way they want, like I stated earlier. And I think it will also not be good for the police to move in and start chasing those that are going to be mobilizing themselves in a way of holding either rallies or whatever meeting it is that they want to hold. It will be very important that we find a very clever way of policing the activities that are going to be taking place, and also not to force the other opposition political parties to ban their rallies, because then they come up tomorrow and put the blame on either ECZ or the police, and then you just have, instead of trying to solve a problem, you end up creating even more problems than what we could be solving by stopping the rallies. So I think we need to handle this situation in a very, very proper way that does not put pressure on the police, does not put pressure on the ECZ, and also on the political parties that are contesting this election. Do I see other political parties following suit by either reducing their rallies or stopping their rallies? I think that those in the opposition will be very happy to go on and be able to hold rallies, because they believe that's one of the surest ways that they're going to communicate their message to the people. It's not everybody that has a TV in their home, so they obviously want to get out to the people and be able to talk to them at a rally.
The advice that came from the Electoral Commission of Zambia was not the first one, because we had SI 21 and SI 22 from the Minister of Health that, was discouraging gathering in large numbers. The party that is in power, the ruling party, continued. We saw there was a by-election in Eastern Province, and they were holding rallies with huge numbers of people. And other the opposition political parties today are shocked with the directive that has come from the PFSG to say, what is it that has changed now for the PF to ban rallies when in the midst of COVID-19, the by-elections were there, the issue of dishing out money or giving out money to groups, marketeers, we saw them holding these so-called rallies in the name of empowerment. What is it that could have triggered the Secretary General to issue this directive when they have failed to adhere to SI 21 and 22?
I know what has changed. Obviously what has changed is the election we're having now is a general election. It's going to happen in every single part of this country. The one that is being referred to in your question is one which happened in a particular area, and it was a small election, which should not even be compared to the general election. Because the general election, you expect that there are going to be a lot of rallies that would go on around the country. And obviously that's one of the things that maybe the Patriotic Front considered and said, look, of course we've had these by-elections and this is how we did the activities. We can do it better and different this time around, especially that we are going to be able to put a lot of other people at greater risk to the COVID-19. So it's a question of looking at the merits. What did we do and what can we do now to make the situation even better? So if you're looking at the entire country holding rallies and you're just looking at Eastern Province in a small part of the country holding rallies, those two are completely different. And obviously by stopping the rallies to go on in every part of the country, you are protecting the lives of the Zambian people.
Let's talk about the issue of adoptions. We have seen political parties unveiling successful candidates to stand in various constituencies, in various districts, in various wards. But these announcements have not come, they have not been accepted by others, and we have seen people declaring that they are standing as independent candidates. We have seen these people during the primary elections, the people that that came out first have been left out. And people are asking, what is the reason or what is the rationale of having primary elections where ward officials, constituency officials, district officials, and provincial officials who choose a candidate, but the Central Committee or National Management Committee comes back and U-turn and makes a change and picks someone who was coming third to say this is the candidate. What do you make of this?
I would first of all think that, I can give you an example. For example, in a home. So you've got children and you have the husband and the wife. And if my mother came and said, guys, can you choose what you want to eat today? All right. So as siblings, as children, you decide, okay, today we want to eat chicken. And then when you go back to your parents, they realize, no, these guys just had chicken the other day. So we're not going to have chicken. Instead, we're going to have fish. So they can turn things looking at scenarios and circumstances. So the fact that somebody has come out first in the primaries, according to my own understanding and judgment, does not mean that automatically that person is adopted. If that was the case, then the adoption process would literally be ending at the primaries. Once the primaries have decided, the national committee or the central committees would just receive the names of the people that have been adopted from the primaries and say, these are the people that we've adopted, and they're the candidates. But the reason why they actually go to the National Executive Committee or the Central Committee is to make sure that now, once at the grassroots, you've said these are the people that you want, that information goes to the higher body of the political party to also go and scrutinize, and based on what information they also have from their own intelligence. Because remember that political parties, those in power and in a position, all of them have got their own intelligence. So you should not think that it's only the information that comes from the ground that then is believed to be the gospel or truth, that even when it goes to the higher deciding body, then that's definitely...
But David Kapoma, you know, so leaders of these political parties, before the adoption process, they said, we are going to go with popular candidates. What people are going to say in a particular ward or constituency, that is what we're going to endorse. But we've seen them changing.
Some candidates are not popular, they are famous.
So what's the difference between being popular and being famous?
You can be famous, but you're not favored by the people. So, for example, I can go to Kalingalinga. You can go to Kalingalinga and ask people, do you know David Kapoma? They'll say, yes, we know him. You go to another place and you ask if they know me, they'll tell you, oh, fine, we know him. But you have maybe not taken time to ask them how they know me. Do they know me to be carrying a good name, or do they know me to be carrying a bad name? So you find people that are famously known. And there's so many people. There are even criminals that are very, very famous. They are known by everybody. But it does not mean that they can then make a good leader. So even when the political parties say we're going to go with the popular candidates on the ground, yes, to people from outside, or maybe that do not have the kind of information that the leaders in this party have, and that's why you are seeing that both the PF and the UPND have appointed or adopted, and then after a few days they come back and reverse their decision. So now, we erred in adopting this person. The right person we should have adopted is this one. Maybe because they come across certain information after the adoption that they never came across before. You can adopt someone and then people start telling you, come on, this person that you've adopted, this is what they do, or this is what they are. You're not going to win the election. So once someone is being presented to the public, then you get a lot of interested groups start coming up to either say good or bad things about that particular person that you've picked. So yes, some candidates could be very famous on the ground, but they're not the popular candidates. They're not the favored candidate. They're not the ones that the people really want to lead them. So we need to make that distinction and realize that it's not every other person whose name is on the ground.
And those, David, there are people that have indicated, and they will start fighting in their nominations tomorrow, to say, the people that voted for me in the primaries, the people that have been supporting me in my constituency are the ones that have approached me and they have told me to say, go the independent way and we're going to vote for you. Don't you think the Central Committee is being defeated because the Central Committee won't go in that constituency or ward to vote, but the very people that have been campaigning, supporting this candidate are the ones who are telling this candidate to say, apply as an independent and I'm going to vote for you.
And that's what makes politics. And that's what politics is supposed to be. We can never be short of such kind of scenarios. obviously, once the adoption process has been done, you'll still get one or two people that are going to come up and say, look, you've left me out of the adoption, my people have told me to contest. And of course, some of them, after August, you would sit here and will agree that some of them that will go independent after not being adopted might win the seats. All right, they might win and they might be in parliament after August. And that's just to imagine that it's not all the time also that the Central Committee is wise in their decisions. They also, because they're just a collection of individuals who've got independent minds. So in some instances, you might find that the candidate who's not been picked maybe has got personal vendettas with some of the leaders within the National Executive Committee or the MCC, and so they are not picked based on various reasons. But on the ground, they still remain very popular, and they still remain the ones that are favored by the people. So there are always going to be those scenarios where people cross from wanting to be adopted on the political party ticket to going independent, because they purely believe that, me, I'm here to save the people. I'm not here to save my party. So because my people have told me that I should contest, well and good, I'm going to go in and go it solo.
There are some that have indicated that they are going independent way, and some leaders in their political parties have told them, say, this is where the test of loyalty lies. We are going to see if you've been loyal and you believe and you trust the leadership. Then if you are loyal to a political party, you believe in our ideologies and you respect our leaders, don't go and stand as an independent candidate. Others have said this is intimidation, this is not democracy. And others are saying, no, this is democracy. What do you make of this?
Yeah, it's actually true when you say that that's democracy. When you don't pick someone for whatever reason it is that you decide to leave them, I think it only makes sense that the person has got the right to choose what they want to do afterwards. Do they want to leave the party, or do they want to resign and want to go independent? All of those are personal decisions that a person makes after analyzing and seeing how they're being affected by whatever process have taken place. So we can't really blame them for wanting to stand independent, and no one should even say, we're going to test your loyalty based on this. It's really a personal
Can't
choice.
we question their loyalty?
I don't think there's really need to question their loyalty. It's a personal decision that one makes. It really is a personal decision. You can choose. You have got the democratic right to go on and stand as independent, or to stay and continue supporting your political party. It's about how popular you think you're on the ground. It's about how the people have received the news, because it's also true that for some of them, it really is their supporters on the ground who would be putting them on fire to say, look, you have to contest as an independent candidate because you are the one that people want on the ground. And they have gone on the ground, for example, they have seen that really I'm the one who's being favored by the people, the ones who believe that they should contest. For some of them, it's actually purely personal because they want to benefit. Right? You can imagine that you've been campaigning for 5 years on the constituency. You are so ready to go and to go into parliament. You believe that you've got so much support on the ground, and in the last minute, they just tell you that you're not going to contest, you're picking somebody else. So you're saying, look, I don't want to have all this work that I've been doing to go in vain. As a result, I'm going to contest as an independent. And so you choose to go as an independent candidate.
There are about 2 provinces that have seen high numbers of people standing as independent candidates, Eastern as well as the Copper Belt. Do you see independent candidates in the 2 provinces beating the people that have been, adopted? And if at all there is any, you kindly give us a constituency to say, in this constituency, the person that has gone to stand as an independent is likely to carry the day come August 12?
I really can't pinpoint on any of them that I would say that they're outrightly going to win the election. But I can tell you, I can only give you 2 examples, one in the Copper Belt and one in the Eastern Province. I definitely feel that being on the Copper Belt is going to give the adopted candidates a run for their money. They will definitely have to run for their money. And I also think that JJ in the Eastern Province is definitely going to give Honorable Celia a run for their money. Those are the only 2 examples that I can give you. Are they going to win the elections as independent? That's up to how best they're going to campaign. But I can clearly tell you that even how they're going to campaign, these 2 are potential. If they don't win, they come out number 2.
Article 51 talks about someone standing as an independent that you need to resign 2 months before. You don't have to belong to a political party 2 months before an election. And we've seen the likes of Bino Mpundu, the likes of Zinda Basoko resigning from the Patriotic Front. Letters are all over. But others have argued to say, why should you resign from a political party that has got no membership? They don't have cards.
That's what I thought, actually. I really thought that, especially the Patriotic Front, I thought that the PF didn't have members. Because if I remember very well, the late President Michael Sata used to say that the Patriotic Front is the party of the people. And so everyone is a member of the party, whoever wants to jump in. But then the question is, if really the party doesn't have membership, then people are resigning from what? So that's what brings in this interesting...
Does it mean they don't understand the political party they belong to? And they don't understand the Constitution?
We would be too harsh to judge them that they do not understand the parties they belong to, and also that they don't understand the Constitution. But it would be very interesting to see how the Electoral Commission of Zambia is going to handle the cases of the individuals who have decided to quit from their political parties and want to contest as independents. So I really wouldn't want to make a judgment before the Electoral Commission of Zambia do it themselves. Otherwise, we might just be opening the yard when the cat is not.
When you say the late Michael Chifyasata said this is a party for the people and anyone can jump into this political party, we saw when Mao Sampa left the PF, when he wanted to go back, he was told to apply. Equally, we have seen GBM, and recently the SG, Honorable Mwira, announced that we have considered the letters that Chimbaka Mbwiri wrote and Mwenya Musenge, and now they have been readmitted to the party. If indeed they don't have membership, why should the party ask an individual to apply?
I'll be happy that Muvi TV finds my uncle Davis Mwila to come and fire him those questions so he can answer him himself, because that's the question that I equally don't understand. I don't know why people will have to be readmitted. Whether maybe if I want to join the Patriotic Front, I need to understand whether I need to write a letter or I just need to go and say, okay, I'm joining, these are my details, and put me in your records, and then I'm admitted as a member. But really, it would be interesting to get somebody from the Patriotic Front to be able to answer those questions. So even us as people from the public then will be able to understand exactly how the party operates.
Let's move on. There are people that have applied, that did apply to stand as members of parliament. They are not adopted. But the Patriotic Front, I have seen, they have, for example, Fennet and Livingstone. He was left out. People protested, but now he has been adopted to stand as a mayor. Also in Kabwe, a similar thing happened. In Lusaka, again, I'll give an example of Matero and Kanyama. People that applied and attended the primary elections to stand as members of parliament have been adopted to stand as councillors. And people are asking, how?
And on your list, we equally add Nakonde, because I think Nakonde also you have one of the people that had applied to contest as MP being adopted as council chairperson. Now, like I was saying earlier on, it's about the wisdom of the party leadership that then decides, say, okay, so we've not been given, remember there can only be one candidate for each particular seat. So if you've got two very strong candidates, and then the one that you have on either the mayor or the council chairperson is weak, as a party you want to say, okay, these two are really strong, so let's pick one and make them the member of parliament, and the other become a mayor. And I think that's, in a scenario like that, is why you want to test somebody's loyalty, because you've not been left out completely, but you've been given something that you still be able to serve the people in that particular area. It's different with being left out completely. So I think for me, it's actually a good strategy that when you don't pick someone for what they applied for, it's like if you are jobless, you are looking to be employed, and you apply to come and work as a CEO at Muvi TV, and Muvi TV says, no, David, look, for the CEO, we've given this position to this particular person, so we'll make you a programmer for the meantime. I mean,
when there are people that apply to be employed as programmers,
of course.
Where are they going to be taken?
I've done that before in my own business. I've had people apply either as engineers or whatever it is, and you said, look, these guys, we've got a lot of suitable candidates, so you can only pick one. and then give the other positions that are variable.
What about those that applied for the other positions which were available?
So you are simply saying that the person that you've put in that position is better than the ones that applied. It's up to the person now to accept, do I really want to go as a mayor, or I really don't want this position of a mayor? Because what you're simply saying is that, look, yes, you've applied as an MP, but we feel that you can do very well as a mayor. And compared to actually the other people that have applied to become mayors. So it's about the party making the right choices and putting the right people in the right places.
Let's talk about Solwezi. Solwezi, the Patriotic Front adopted Jackson Kungo. We saw them withdrawing the adoption, adopted Kajoba. And now we have seen Kanso Myuna Katolo leaving the UPND, joining the PF. And now again the PF have gone ahead and withdrew the application from Kajoba. They have given it to Kanso Katolo.
You're informing me that they've changed twice.
I'm telling you, this is what is on the ground. Not only in Solwezi, also in Ikerengi, Peter Fisher was adopted, given an adoption certificate, then they withdrew, gave it to Victor Kayekesi. Again, they have withdrawn it from Victor Kayekesi and gave it back to Peter Fisher.
Well, I think my shortest answer to that is the Patriotic Front is just telling us that they are only but human beings and they can never be perfect.
The UPND equally in Chiranga adopted Shaman.
And then they changed, they gave it to Sipo.
Also, they are humans?
Yeah,
and they can make mistakes?
They're simply human beings and they can make mistakes.
What
is important is that when you make a mistake about something, you are able to go back and rectify and make it what it should be. So I think that's really what they're trying to do.
And even people are saying these political parties have been campaigning in these constituencies, and they know up to now the people that have been campaigning in these constituencies, but why should they be committing these mistakes?
That still does not stop them from making mistakes. They could have been there doing all sorts of work, investigating who is popular and so on, but that does not stop them from making mistakes. We can never be too careful with life.
Her Honor the Vice President this afternoon told the nation and told the Patriotic Front that she's not available, so she shouldn't be considered as a running mate to His Excellency President Edgar Lungu come August polls. What do you make of?
And we should really give Her Honor the Vice President a lot of respect for having come out in the manner that she did. Very sure that there could have been discussions within the ranks of the party and government to really try and find a way out for the Vice President. But I think that the fact that she has made it very clear that because of her age, she would like to pass on the baton to the younger generation so that then they can take up the fight. I think that's the honorable thing that someone in her shoes should be able to do. And it's something that all of us as concerned citizens, as patriotic citizens, we should be able to respect and applaud her for doing what she has done. I think she's done a very, very commendable job in that area. It's something that would definitely give her a lot of respect. It's what they say that one should know when to quit. You need to quit while the people are still clapping. So I think that she's left a very good record. She's been a very sober human being in politics. She's really been good. I don't remember a time that we've heard of serious scandals involving her politically or otherwise. So I think that it's we've let go of a person that is going to leave a lot of respect in the political arena, and someone that I think that other female politicians should really be able to emulate, to try and live a life and try and achieve what she has achieved politically, so that even when they're going to be leaving the stage, people will still remain clapping. I personally clap for her for taking up the decision that she has done. But what is even more interesting is now the question of who then pops up tomorrow as the president goes for the
nomination. And don't you think this has created confusion in the party? Because others have already started, suggesting names and, sharing on social media, say, tomorrow we expect to see this person. Others are saying, I have information that tomorrow President Edgar Lungu will be able to announce and unveil this man to be a presidential candidate. Don't you think, as a presidential running mate, don't you think it has created confusion in the party?
No, it can't create confusion. It just creates anxiety and speculations. Confusion, no. I don't think that is bad enough to create confusion. It just creates that anxiety. For example, one of the things that we're going to know is, okay, whoever the running mate is going to be is not among the names that have already been adopted to run as either MPs or mayors and so on and so forth. So you'll be looking at the people that have not been adopted. But that's the beauty about politics. You should always have the element of surprise. It's always very, very important for any political leader to have that element of surprise. You leave people in suspense so that even when you are making your announcement, it comes with a lot of excitement. Because as we speak now, you and I, we have got no idea whatsoever of who the president is going to announce as his running mate. And that is, let's say, for example, he comes up with a very good name, a person that we least expect, and this person that pops up as his running mate. Then we begin even respecting him more, that definitely the president knew what he was doing. He's given us a very good person as a running mate. And if you've seen, all the other political parties, apart from the People's Alliance for Change, which announced their running mate not so long ago, I think just last week, you've seen that the UPND has also, the UPND Alliance has also not told us who the running mate is. They are potentially also waiting for the last day so they can give us the same element of surprise. So it can't cause any form of confusion whatsoever. What causes the anxiety and that element of surprise.
You have given this, to say it cannot create problems. Well, let me remind you, David Kapoma, in 2016, the UPND, they had 2 vice presidents. And people didn't know who was going to be the running mate to HH. He announced that it was going to be GBM, and we know what followed after that announcement. Canisius Banda today is no longer with the UPND. Let's talk about the UPND Alliance. Already there are suggestions, and people are talking about 3 names. And they're also, the UPND have not yet announced, but Hakainde Hichilema will be filing in on Wednesday. Are we also likely to hear an announcement on Tuesday or the very Wednesday? And is it going to create the same problem which it created in 2016?
It may create problems based on who has been picked and how the announcement has been done. And I think that's one of the reasons why they obviously want to leave it to the very last minute. But in the case of the alliance, I think that there are some dynamics that could have changed somehow. The fact that now you have more than one political party coming together, meaning that they have to be very careful in the way that they choose the running mate, so that they do not destroy that unity in the alliance. Because if they rush it and they end up picking a candidate who is either wrong or a candidate that they are not very sure about. But I think one of the things that the UPND could be worried about is they are possibly asking themselves questions. These partners that we have, are they really genuinely with us? Or there are people who have been planted to come and cause confusion in our camp, to the extent that the moment you announce this is the running mate, and then last minute somebody pulls out. So there could be all of those things that the UPND is obviously thinking about and trying to investigate who is really here for us. What is the best choice that we make? Because the person that HH picks as his running mate determines whether he has the possibilities and the potential to win the elections or is destroyed completely. So he's only got few days for us, the people who are going to be judging on the terraces, to know whether he's going to destroy himself or is going to be able to even make himself stronger as a candidate in this election to defeat President Lungu.
Let's also discuss the issue of President Edgar Lungu qualifying or being eligible to stand. David, you've mentioned before, you've appeared on one of our programs, and you've declared that President Edgar Lungu is eligible. Last night we had someone who says he has been working closely with the PF, saying President Edgar Lungu is not eligible to stand.
That's what somebody said?
Yes.
Oh, it would be, first of all, it's interesting. We need to understand when you're saying that someone said that, I'll be happy to know, is this someone from within the PF or it's someone outside?
This is the president of a political party, but he says he has been working with the party and they know he has been in the inner circle. President Chilufya of the EEP said President Edgar Lungu is not eligible. You have appeared several times and you've been very consistent that he qualifies.
But it's the same Chilufyatayali who on the 5th of May said that President Lungu was eligible. If you go on his Facebook page, you find that.
So he says after studying and after going through the constitution, now he understands it better and he has discovered that President Edgar Lungu does not qualify.
Kelvin, I always tell people, especially the younger generation in politics, I always say that when we want to start attaching emotions to how we make political judgment, we are making a very big mistake. Really, that is not even something that we should be discussing now, because my understanding is that definitely my elder brother Chilufyatayali would be saying what he said because he was bitter when he was coming to the program. We are talking about someone who was just coming out from incarceration, someone who was in police cells for many days, and he comes out and he saw he's got that much anger in him that he really can't say anything good about the Patriotic Front. And if you are saying that this is a person that has been working with the Patriotic Front, and he said that people within the PF know that the President Lungu is not eligible, and he says he himself also, well, he definitely must be worse than the other cowards who are still in the PF.
He says because those that are surrounding President Edgar Lungu, they know that he doesn't qualify, but they are afraid to tell him that, Bwana, you don't qualify. So him has come out to say, I'm a brave man.
Why didn't he come out when he was still enjoying their butter? Why should he come out when the butter is finished? Why,
you think so?
Why?
You think the butter is finished?
Come on, it's like you've been married to this woman for a number of years, right? And everything is fine. Now that you are divorced, you want to start going to tell the entire world that she's a bad woman, she's done ABC. People will be asking you, come on, guys, what is it that you're talking about? Why should they even believe you when you're a bitter man? Because you're just coming out of that situation. So for me, I'll tell you that I watched the show. Not live, but I followed it afterwards just to try and understand exactly what he was saying. He, of course, talked about President Lungu not being eligible. He said that Honorable Kampyongo is such a bad man. He said that my good friend Chris Zumani is such a terrible human being. I mean, he said so many things. And go back to his Facebook just this month, on the 2nd of May, he was praising Kampyongo and said only long doers don't like Kampyongo. Just not so long ago, there was someone who was congratulating Chris Zumani for being such a tactician in politics. Then today, because I'm just coming from my incarceration, I'm upset, I'm not happy about what has happened, I want to say that President Lungu is not eligible. Even when I'm saying that he's not eligible, I can't really give the clear reasons. The only thing I'll say is that those that are surrounding President Lungu, they know he's not eligible to contest the election. So the Patriotic Front do not have a candidate. Why didn't my elder brother, Chilufyatayali, tell us when he was still enjoying the butter of the Patriotic Front, when they were still giving him the 5,000 and the 10,000s to go and take care of his personal needs, why didn't he come out and say, guys, look, I know I'm meeting with these guys, but I really feel that the president is not eligible? Because what you are doing when you do that, Kelvin, is that you are not only misleading the public, you are also insulting your own integrity as a human being. Okay? You're also insulting your own integrity. Because you can't come and tell us, say, look, the reason why I didn't say that time that this person does not qualify is because I was eating with them. Now that they threw me in police cells, they tortured me, they did all sorts of wrong things, now I have come out and I'm saying that this person does not qualify. Why should you even take you serious when you are the same person who has said that this person is a good man, is God-fearing, is God-given, he qualifies, those who are fighting him are just bitter? Then because now you are the one who's bitter, you should come and tell the public that this man does not qualify to contest as president. What scale are you using to make that judgment? So these are things that we should be very careful with. And really, my message to him and to other younger politicians is that when we are involving ourselves in politics, let's have a side job that gives us a genuine income, that at any given time, David Kapoma is not going to be forced to say things that I believe myself are not true, but because I've either been given a 5-pin or a 10-pin, as he confessed himself yesterday. It's a very wrong thing. We should begin taking politics serious. This is not just a game of you wake up today and you say things and then you are given money and then you walk away. These are serious matters. These are matters of life and death. We are talking about a president who's going to be on the ballot, a president who's being expected to lead the people, and then you want to start toying around with the leadership. Today you say this, the following day you say the other thing. We are really playing like children, which is not supposed to be the case. Because we are matured people, we are adults, we are elders. If you are a president of a political party, you want to have a very straight, you need to be very focused. You need to know exactly what you are saying at every given time. So you can't just come up. And I was amazed when I watched his interview, and then I had to go back because I was trying to remember what he has been saying before. And when I started checking back, I realized that all along he's singing praise songs for President Lungu. How good he is, how qualified he is, how he's God-given, how he's going to be...
He said he didn't understand, but now he understands.
What didn't he understand? Why should you understand when you are bitter?
He has now understood what
fine.
is a term, what is holding office, and that is why he has changed, because he didn't understand then, but now he understands.
Kelvin, at what time does a human being make a proper decision? When you are in your normal state or when you are frustrated? Everything is okay. You are just yourself. Nothing has gone wrong with you, and you have to make a decision. Or you just come out of police cells and somebody says, hey, what do you think about this? We always say that when you are in a situation where my older brother found himself in, we can't even think that he's going to be able to make a proper judgment. The only reason why today you would come and say that President Lungu does not qualify is because he's been angered. He's been upset. He's bitter with what has happened to him. He clearly said, I've done so many things for the Patriotic Front. I've defended President Lungu. Now look what they have done to me. But I can actually tell you what he was trying to achieve when he was coming up with that accusation of saying that President Lungu is financing anarchy in the Patriotic Front, is that you need to understand the style that people take when they want to do something. That was simply a gimmick which went wrong, okay? It was a tact that went wrong. So let me talk about President Lungu today. So when I say these things, then I'm going to attract their attention, and then they'll come to me and start saying, no, you don't have to say this. But then, unfortunately, he ended up saying the wrong things. It's fine to attract attention from people. You can attract attention in so many different ways, but you don't want to attract the kind of attention that puts you in trouble. Kelvin, my own father, my biological father, had been in politics for a very long time, from the time of the vigilantes in Kaunda. And one thing that my father would tell me whenever I want to seek political counsel from him was, my son, always avoid saying things that put you in trouble. Avoid police cells. The greatest enemy anyone has in politics is your own mouth. That's what lands you in trouble. And if you check the record clearly, you realize that many politicians who've landed themselves in problems, including Chirishimba Kambwili, GBM, Chirifetali himself, my brother, talk about them. Muvi Tanawa, who is unfortunately still incarcerated. All of them, it's about the things that come out of your mouth. That's really what puts us in trouble. So you can't think that I'll just go live on my page and then I'll say these things and then I'm going to attract the attention of these people so then they can come to me because I need ABCD. You don't do that. You can still do it in a clever way. You can still be a good guy. You can still support the Patriotic Front in a proper way. That does not mean that you either have to say things that you can't substantiate, you can't say things that put you in trouble, but that you can still be sober. And really, when the younger people, when I say younger people, I mean those ones who are way younger than you and I, who are not yet in politics now, who are in the high school, who are aspiring to become politicians in the future. When they're seeing these things happening on social media, can you imagine the kind of feelings that we give them? Imagine the kind of thoughts that come in their minds. They'll always be telling themselves, is this really what politics is about? Is this really what we're going to find in politics? That you're going to have...
But politicians have told us that politics is a dirty game.
No, politics is not a dirty game. It's only dirty people who go in politics, and they make it look dirty. Politics is a serious game that we should all take serious. That's why there's even a school specifically for politics, to go and study political science. It's not a game. It's not a dirty game as people put it.
But what we've been experiencing in this country, you've mentioned names of people that were incarcerated before, and after being released, they spoke a lot of things against President Edgar Lungu and the Patriotic Front. Today, as we speak, these people have gone back and they are dining and whining with the people they were insulting. Is it not a confirmation enough that indeed politics in Zambia is a dirty game?
Again,
where are the clean people? David.
Again, the clean people, the clean person is...
Do we have them in this country?
The clean people are sitting right next to me. Because you think you are clean, you think that politics is such a dirty game, you're not going to involve yourself in politics. So we've got so many good people out there who have got political ambitions. But remember what I just said a while ago. The reason why certain people don't want to join politics is when they see what happens in the politics. And it's really because of the few individuals that make politics look that bad. It's not as bad as it looks from the outside. You can still have people. I used to be advisor for Last People for 4 years, good 4 years. And we brought in very clean politics. There was never a time when Last was taken to the police for either using bad language, for insulting, because whenever we sat, all right, whenever we sat, whether we are just the two of us or we are with the executive, we said, what kind of politics do you want to practice? We want to do clean politics. We want to do the politics that are going to inspire the younger generation. And really we carried on with that spirit, all right? And when you're saying where are the young people, maybe that's the reason why my dear elder brother is no longer in politics, because maybe the system failed him. He could not understand well how he was going to fit in when what you find in politics is people saying this today and then they say the next thing tomorrow. And we've seen leaders do that. But then the question is, where is somebody's conscience? How honestly am I going to be very happy to go and dine with Patriotic Front, ask them to give me money to go and defend them in public, and then because now I've said the wrong thing or I've done something wrong, I want to come back and start saying the exact opposite to what I was saying before. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I think we need to start cancelling ourselves. We need to start having a board meeting with ourselves. David Kapoma should go home and sit next to himself and say, where am I going wrong politically? What can I do politically that is going to help shape the picture of this country in a political sphere? What can I do to this politics? What value can I bring?
Are you saying these people don't have time to do what you're suggesting?
I don't think that they don't have time. It's the interest they don't have. They possibly don't have the interest to do what I'm suggesting.
But we've seen political parties, welcoming them and praising them that these are the men, these are gifted, these are politicians that we have. And when they speak, listen to them.
Well, politicians will always do that. Politics is about numbers. So there's no way somebody will come to you and then you want to...
So if politics is all about numbers, meaning that our politics is dirty because dead people are embraced and given...
I'm very much aware, Kelvin. Kelvin, I know that you want me to accept that the politics are dirty.
No.
The politics
based on what
dirty.
Is on the ground, David.
That's not dirty. The people who go and do those things are the dirty ones. The politics remains clean.
And these have been given a front seat, the dirty one.
Which front seat have they been given?
We have seen GBM is now a deputy in charge of mobilization.
That's not a front seat. The front seat is the president.
So someone who is mobilizing for the party, the whole country is not in the front seat?
It's not front seat. Maybe it's number 6 in the seats. Or even number 7 or number 10.
And these are in our politics?
Of course, they're in the politics, and they're going to be there. We are never going to learn short of them. They'll always be there. We're still going to have interesting individuals in politics. Even my dear brother Chilufya Tayali is still here with us. We like it or not, he's still going to continue doing his politics. We still have GBM, we still have a lot of them that are going to continue doing politics. You still have my dear elder brother Chimba Kambudu said that if I go back to the Patriotic Front, then I'm insane. You still have these individuals, they'll still be there and they'll still be doing politics.
And our politics will continue to be clean? Our
politics will still continue to be what they are.
What do you think Chilufya Tayali is trying to achieve at the end of the day? Because these were allegations that he raised last evening. I haven't sat well with some section of the people. Others are saying, no, it's just a joker. Others are taking him very seriously. Others are saying, no, probably the 8 days that he spent in sales maybe has done him bad.
Maybe has reformed.
What do you think he's trying to achieve?
I think that, and I don't know why you keep asking me about Chilufya Tayali, because sometimes I try to avoid talking about him. He's a good brother of mine. I think that His Worship Chilufya Tayali joined...
The incoming mayor of Lusaka.
You want to say that again?
You say His Worship.
His Worship, because I just remembered when I was trying to say something, I just remembered that now he says he wants to contest as mayor of Lusaka. I think that he joined Facebook when Facebook was introduced. He has been on Facebook long enough. He's been a vlogger for a very long period of time. He understands how to get himself out in public. He understands how to get himself to people, and people start talking about him. And because he understands that, it gives him a lot of energy to know when to say what, all right? And that's why I was saying that sometimes in wanting to come out in a way that makes you a hero at the end of the day, we end up making mistakes. And then police bounce on you and you start complaining that these arrests are purely political. And yet someone has made a mistake genuinely. So what really my elder brother is trying to achieve is to try and get more market, is to try and get more attention from the people. He's not the first one to do that. There are few other politicians who do that, and not only in politics, but even in just other sections of life. We've had few individuals that, if you and I at time, we can point at and say, this one did this and they became famous. So sometimes it's not only the good thing that makes you a famous person. Sometimes it's just really how one wants to understand. So my dear brother understands his followers. He understands where he stands. He understands exactly the environment in which we are now. He knows what can give him a lot of market. Because where he is now, I want to believe that his phone is much more busier than it was before he was incarcerated last week. And really that's what he's trying to get. He's trying to get fame out of everything that he's doing. But maybe also trying to get the attention of the Patriotic Front. That then they should say, look, this guy is talking too much. He's going to cause trouble for us. So let's try and find ways and means of bringing him much closer. And in closing on that particular aspect, I wouldn't be very surprised if we saw him change his tone in the next few days, maybe because the Patriotic Front called him for coffee with his best friend, Chris Zumani, as he put him. But I'll come for coffee so we can discuss these things, and here is a 10-pin for you, please. Try and tone down a little bit. So maybe he could be trying to achieve that. But if that's the case, then it's even more unfortunate, because I want to believe that as we are reaching a certain age, we need to be able to have certain principles that stops us from doing certain things just for the sake of having some kind of survival, for the sake of providing meals for our families, but that we should really start making decisions that are good for the Zambian people.
Campaigns have started, and people have complained in this country, including you political analysts, that political parties don't have a clear message for the people. We have seen political parties unveiling their manifestos, unveiling their plans, and telling people, say, when we come in, we'll be able to do this. And the Patriotic Front said, we have done this, but now if you give us another 5 years mandate, we'll be able to do A, B, C, D. What is it that Zambians should expect to hear from these politicians as they go by doing their campaigns?
20 candidates. And out of the 20 candidates, if I asked you, you are in the media, you follow news very well, you see what's happening in the media. If I asked you a question, how many candidates would you remember their manifesto? If you give me up to 5, I'll be very surprised. I would be extremely surprised. I think from the 20, maybe you might be able to remember 1 or 2, or maybe if you are very clever, maybe 3. That's not to say that you're not clever. I know you are very clever. But I'm just simply trying to say that the political parties that are aspiring to win this particular election have not yet coined their message in a very proper way that they have given it to the Zambian people, and the people are able to make an informed decision by way of analyzing the individual messages that these political parties have. Yes, the Patriotic Front is more fortunate because what is going to work for them is the works that they have done. And I've said that time with that number, that to judge the Patriotic Front, you have to look at what is it that this particular party has achieved in the last 10 years. Once you make that judgment, and then you then decide whether myself as Kelvin, do I give President Lungu another mandate, or does it end here? As for the opposition, they really have to work hard in making sure that they come up with a message that is not only clear but precise, a message that would be able to give hope to the Zambian people, a message that once you listen, you are telling yourself, wow, this is something that I want to fall for. As it stands now, I don't see any of them that have that clear message, like more money in the pockets, lower taxes.
Why is it so difficult for political parties to come up with a clear message?
Strategy, Uncle, strategy.
So political parties don't have strategies?
They do have strategies. But
a person will just stand and say, I'm standing as a presidential candidate, and makes the number to reach 20, but without a strategy.
They do have strategies, but maybe their strategies are not good enough. Because I want to believe that when someone is aspiring, obviously they've got ideas, they've got a plan of how they want to do things, but maybe they have just not yet decided how they want the people to respond to their message. what message exactly you're going to be giving to the Zambian people. Because if I tell you which politician, which political party today, you as a journalist, has said this is our policy on mining, this is our policy in the area of education. Even when you listen, for example, and I'm really picking this example very carefully, one of the things that the UPND has said they're going to do is that once they win elections, from the mouth of President HH himself, is that they're going to give us free education. And then when you read the manifesto, the free education is not there. So you start asking yourself, do we believe the manifesto or do we believe the individuals? So those are some of the challenges that we have.
David, thank you so much for making an appearance on
Are
the
you
assembly.
saying that the time is already up?
1 hour plus, we are done.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting
And wishing you all
me.
the best as you continue to analyze the political landscape.
And I'm also wishing you all the best. Please, run away from battles. If you find cadres fighting, please, Kelvin, for your own sake, run for your life, my brother. We don't want to start having casualties. I don't want to see you in the newspaper running for your life.
Are you saying we are likely to experience
No,
violence?
I'm not saying that we are likely going to experience violence. I'm just saying that next time, please, remember there is nominations tomorrow for the president. Don't go with your suit. Go in your jeans and sneakers. Because you never know what is going to happen. But really, in closing, I'm just saying that really, as a Zambian people, we need to remember we've got one country, and this is the country that we have to protect, and violence should not identify who we are.
Many thanks to Mavuto Peri, the producer and director of the program, as well as the people upstairs, Obvious Kapunda, my camera person, David Kapoma, who has been my guest, a political analyst. My name is Kelvin Tabula, Chief Fokker. Good night.
Good news to all Muvi TV subscribers. Subscription payments through MTN Mobile Money have now been restored. To pay for your subscription, switch on your decoder and tune it to channel 1 to prevent the signal from bouncing. Simply dial *303# on MTN Mobile Money. Select the option which says Pay Bills, then select the option Pay TV. Select Movie TV. Enter the 12-digit smart card number excluding the dash. Enter the amount you wish to pay. Enter your PIN and wait a few minutes.
For inquiries, call customer care on 0764 250055 or 0764 250052 or 0978 732 411 or 0978 732 412. So here's how to pay using Airtel Money.